Floor 13, a place that doesn't exist. The Wellington Tower towered over New York like a monster of concrete and glass, swallowing hundreds of employees every day. With its 55 floors, it was one of the most renowned buildings in the city. But there was something about him that no one mentioned in tour or corporate advertisements. Something everyone knew, but no one dared to talk about. The 13th floor. The internship. When I got the internship at Everton Amp Blake Financial, I thought my luck had finally turned around. The pay was great, the experience would be valuable, and working in a skyscraper in the heart of New York felt like something out of a movie. On my first day, I was greeted by a serious, pale assistant named Margaret Wilkins. She didn't smile. He didn't ask how I was. He just slid a crumpled piece of paper across the table. "Read this carefully, Daniel. It could save your life." I picked up the paper and saw that it was a list of rules. The more I read, the more my eyebrows furrowed. Rules 4 EVERTON AMP BLAKE Financial Employees 1. The elevator never stops on the 13th floor. If it stops, immediately press another button and look at the ground. If the doors open and you hear someone call your name, don't respond. 2. If you receive an email signed by someone on the 13th floor, delete it immediately without reading it. Employees who read these emails never returned home. 3. If someone mentions the 13th floor, watch their hands. If the fingers seem too long, this is no longer the person you once knew. Never accept a handshake. 4. On Fridays, a different door may appear in the hallway. It leads to the 13th floor. If it is closed, move away. If it's ajar, run. Ignore the cries for help. 5. On the last day of the month, the office will be empty. Don't come to work. If you realize you are the only one present, leave before 9 a.m. After this time, you will no longer be able to leave. I looked up at Margaret. "Is this a joke?" She held my gaze for a moment. "Read it again, Daniel. They are not here by chance." The elevator. In the first few days, everything seemed normal. The work was demanding but peaceful, until one Wednesday, returning from lunch, something happened. The elevator stopped on the 13th floor. The digital panel blinked, insisting on the cursed number. 13, 13, 13. My heart froze. The doors started to open. I remembered the rule. I looked at the floor and frantically pressed another button. The elevator hesitated for seconds too long, so I listened. "Hey, you dropped something." The voice was feminine, soft, but something about her was wrong. It was distorted, like an old cassette tape playing slowly. I closed my eyes. I held my breath. Daniel, my blood ran cold. I hadn't told anyone my name. When the doors finally closed and the elevator started to descend, I felt sweat running down the back of my neck. Something saw me on that floor. And now I knew who I was. The email. 2 days later, while reviewing documents on my computer, a new email appeared in my inbox. "Edward Langley, 13th floor department." I didn't open it. I moved it to the trash bin immediately. But by a slip, before deleting it forever, my eyes caught an excerpt of the message. "We've already seen you, Daniel. We're waiting." The feeling of being watched never left me. The door. On Friday, when I was leaving work late, I saw her. A door that shouldn't be there. It was different from the others. Dark, worn wood, a golden doorknob that looked alive. It was ajar. A cold breeze escaped, carrying a metallic and sour smell. Then came the whispers. "Daniel, please help me. I'm stuck." The voice was Margaret Wilkins, but Margaret was fine. I saw her at lunch. I took a step back. The door creaked slightly, as if it wanted to open wider. Inside, there was only darkness. I ran, and I ignored the screams. The last day of the month, Margaret didn't show up on Monday. Not even on Tuesday. Not ever again. And then the end of the month came. I didn't go to work. The next morning, I learned that a new intern, Ethan Moore, thought it was all nonsense. He showed up at the office on the last day of the month. Nobody ever saw him again. But at 9:01 a.m., his email was accessed. He only sent one message. "What's that in the hallway?" Nobody responded. The invitation. The following Friday, I decided to quit my job. It didn't matter the salary, the benefits. I needed to get out of there. But before I could deliver my letter, a new email arrived. 13th floor department invitation for promotion. The body of the email automatically appeared in the preview. "Congratulations, Daniel. You have been chosen to level up. Just accept and use the correct door. You already know which one it is." I didn't think twice. I grabbed my bag and ran to the elevator. The digital display indicated that I was heading to the ground floor. The doors opened, and for a second I felt relief. Then a sound echoed behind me. Ping. The elevator was still there. I looked at the panel. Button 13 was lit. And inside the elevator there was someone. No, something. The fingers were too long. The door began to slowly close. I ran. Epilogue. I never went back to Wellington Tower. I changed my number, my apartment, my city. I did everything to erase my existence from that company. But sometimes an email with no sender appears in my inbox. Always with the same subject: we still have a spot for you.